All right, welcome to this week's edition of the 10X Business Owners Mastermind Group call. So, on today's call, we're going to specifically cover what are the systems that you need to have in place? What are the things that you need to have set up when you first start a business? And then the hot seats were one person wanted to talk about business automation, bookkeeping, and finance, and how to set up our bookkeeping system and how to read financials and that sort of thing. So I gave her some coaching on that. And another person was like, how do I generate massive amounts of leads and consistent referrals? So that's what we're going to cover on today's call. Tune in. All right, so welcome everybody to this week's edition of the 10X Business Owners Mastermind call. And so this week, what I want to talk about is basics in business, okay? So I had an opportunity to take on a startup last week. They've been in business for about 6 months. And when I took them on, I went and looked at their website. I'm prepping for a strategy session with these guys and found that they had 4 pages. I mean, it was very, very anemic. I'm like, oh my God, these people really need some help. They can't possibly be getting business with this type of website. So after sitting down and going through a strategy session with them, one of the things I realized is they've been able to build a business over the last 6 months that now produces over $20,000 a month in revenue without really a website, okay? I mean, like 4 pages with really nothing on it. And no sales systems, no, just sheer hard work. And so, one second, I'm going to grab my note sheet here. And so it just dawned on me. It's like, you know what? Okay, when you first get started in business, you're super excited and everything centers around creating money, creating cash flow. And it was such a great strategy session because I was reminded, it's like, you don't need all this fancy shit to create business. And when I started my coaching and consulting business that I have right now, December 2nd, 2013, I had 2 clients making $600 a month, and we were going into the holiday season. And yeah, I had a website, but not one single client came from my website. Not one single appointment, not one single lead, not any of that. What I had to do is get laser focused on what's called revenue generating activities. And so at the time, I lived in Antelope. I had an office downstairs. Could not afford an office, couldn't afford any of this fancy stuff. But what I did have is a hustle, and I had a database. So I used a database called Less Annoying CRM, which cost me $10 a month. I had a call that I created called the 10X Business Owners or the 10X Mastermind Group call, which now happens this week on Tuesday, and then switching to Wednesday next week. And I had time. And so what I decided to do, because it was in the middle of football season when I launched this business, is I step back and I go, okay, I'm going to treat my business like a professional football team. And so I go, okay, when the game starts, when the first quarter starts, the players are not sitting there trying to figure out what the game plan is. That's the first lesson I learned. No. They practiced all throughout the week outside of game hours to get their game plan right. So the number one rule I learned in that is, you know what? I'm not going to take prime time to do revenue generating activities. Now, what are revenue generating activities? Would be marketing to a lead, generating a lead, calling that lead, setting an appointment, running an appointment, and closing, and then taking care of existing clients. And so I laid out my schedule to where between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, I broke it up into 4 quarters, just like a professional football game. And so the first quarter started at 8 and it ended at 10. Second quarter started at 10:10 and ended at noon. The third quarter started at 1 and ended at 3. And the fourth quarter started at 3:10 and ended at 5. And that's how I broke up the day. So I took a break in between each quarter and a halftime, which was my lunch. And I walked my dog and I ate lunch. And so here's what I did to go from $600 a month, December 2nd, 2013, to $9,327 a month, 4.5 months later. Now, let me repeat that. I went from $600 a month to $9,000 in 4.5 months. And so what did I do? Well, here's what I did. I got up early. I got up at 5 a.m. and I wrote down my goals. And I asked myself, what do I want? And I wrote it down. And those of you, you can go back and listen to my podcast. You can go back into the library here, and you'll hear a call where I talked about morning routine. Then once I was done with my morning routine, I spent a good solid hour from 7 to 8 doing nothing but laying out my call list. Who am I going to call? Okay. Do I have enough leads? And if I didn't have enough leads, then I would spend time on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Wasn't using Instagram back then, but I would create a shit ton of content to put out on my social networks. I was constantly using my cell phone. I didn't have all the equipment I have right now. I didn't have any of the support staff that I have now. None of it was fancy. I just spoke from the heart and spit content and put it out on social networks. I hammered the social networks because I needed attention. And when you're first getting started in business, you need attention. That's what you need. So I put it out there, and the moment 8 o'clock started, I hopped on the phone. And I had a system called the Marketing Touch system, which is taking 200 leads, putting them into 8 groups of 25. And I would send what's called a Marketing Touch, an email or a direct message on social media or a postcard or something of value to my potential prospect. And I would send it to them the day before. And so the next morning, I knew the 25 people I was going to target that day. Now, I could have sat there and made 100 calls to 100 different prospects. But what I learned is if I make 100 calls to 25 prospects, then guess what? I have a higher chance of setting an appointment. And so I would go into my home office and I gave very specific instructions to my wife and my kid. I said, if this door is closed, do not knock unless the house is on fire. And then I told them if it's urgent or it's an emergency, I take a break at this time, I have a lunch at this time, and I have a lunch at this time. Outside of that, call 911. And I was dead serious. I wasn't joking, because if I didn't go out and sell and create business, okay, how am I going to pay the mortgage? How am I going to pay for food, shelter, clothing, that sort of thing? I had to create money, and I refused to go and liquidate any of the investments that I had or assets or anything. I forced myself to stay broke during that time because it gave me a hustle. And so here's how the system works. If I have a client appointment scheduled, I run the client appointment during that quarter. That's my first priority. My second priority is if I have a prospect appointment scheduled, I start it and stop it on time. I don't ramble on. Same thing with the client appointment. After I've dealt with the client and the prospect, now I'm on the phone making calls. I'm not generating leads unless I don't have enough leads. Okay. I always keep lead generation outside of prime time. And so I'm hopping on the phone. Now, I already know I'm going to run 4 quarters. So I already know that if these people don't answer the phone, I'm not going to leave a message. So I call up and it goes to voicemail. I hang up. I call up the next one, and if it goes to voicemail, I hang up. And I call up the next one. The person answers the phone. I talk to them. And my goal is to schedule a 10-minute phone call or run a 10-minute call right then and there. So I get through all 25 calls. Once I got through all 25 calls, I go to email, see if there's any email I need to answer. Then I would go to social media, and I would start contacting people on social media, okay, until that 2-hour block of time was up. And I had a timer. I would take a break. I would literally take a mental, physical break and relax. Go and say hi to my son, my wife at the time, and just take a mental break. Then I would come back and get ready for the second quarter. And I would go at it just like I was playing a professional football game. They leave everything on the field. Except this time, when I placed the calls, so I'd run my client appointment if I had one, a prospect appointment, and the second time, if I got voicemail, I would say I'd let it go to voicemail, and I would say, "Hey, Joe, it's John Pyron, just trying to get in touch with you. Give me a call back, 916-765-2596," and I'd hang up. And then I'd send him a text, "Joe, it's John, trying to get a hold of you. Please give me a call back." And as I'm sitting there making the more calls, they're calling me back. And I'm not on purpose not answering the phone. I'm letting it go to voicemail. Because, see, the one thing I've learned in the area of cold calling, in the area of appointment setting, if I can be reached too easy, I'm not as valuable. Okay? I want them to understand what I have to offer them. And I'm going to call them back next quarter. So, anyways, get off once I finish up the 25 calls, if I have time, then I'll return those calls if they've called and left a message or sent a text. And if I still have time, then I'm hopping back on social media and generating more leads. So then I take my halftime, and I take a solid hour lunch, do some reading, go walk the dog, eat lunch, build my mind. I mean, because I didn't have any business going on. I didn't have any appointments going on. I didn't have any clients. I had 2 clients paying me $300 a month each. Okay. So I wasn't going to go out and have fun. Then the third quarter started. I'd do it again, leave a voicemail, send a text, and I set some more appointments. Now, what's interesting is every single quarter that went by, they got very curious about what the hell I want. And so I started getting into conversations, because if you haven't made a lot of calls in your life, you'll understand what I'm talking. If you have made a lot of calls, you'll understand what I'm talking about, which is until I have a conversation with them, I can't set an appointment. And I'm in appointment setting mode. I'm not in sales mode. Okay. I'm in appointment setting mode unless they want to run a 10-minute call right then and there. So I would set the appointment, and if I could run the appointment right then and there, I'd run it and close them on a strategy session. Is what I was selling. Okay. Then in the fourth quarter, finally, I'd leave them a final message and just hammer it again. I'd send them a text, send them to some content, and then I would be done. 5 o'clock, I'm done. At 5 o'clock, I don't shut down. I take another break, and then I have a post-game wrap-up, just like I would in a football game. Kind of debrief what worked today. What worked today? What didn't I work today? I would update my spreadsheet with my numbers. Okay, so if you're not tracking your numbers, I will throw I'm going to put an action item here. Action, upload, sales tracker. All right, so I use the tracker. Okay. And I'll send you mine, and you can update it with whatever it applies to your business. But you track your numbers. You need to track how many dials you make, how many contacts you make, how many appointments you set, how many appointments run, how many sales convert. So that way you're able to track what's working and what's not working. Okay. So I would spend the post-game wrap-up, wrapping up my day, what worked, what didn't work, and so forth. And that would help me better plan the next day. Now, truth be told, when I first started this, I was only setting probably 1 or 2 appointments a day until I warmed up the 200 list. Once I had the 200 list warmed up, I would set anywhere from 4 to 8 appointments a day until my calendar got so full that I had to back off. And that's what you're after here. So when you're first getting started or you need to create money really, really quick, you got to step back and get rid of all the bullshit that's not making you money. If it's not revenue producing, I don't do it during prime time. And that's my rule. And then once you do that consistently over time, then you can start hiring people to do all that stuff. See, like I have people that I don't make any appointment setting calls today. Absolutely none. And I don't have to, because I have marketing in place that generates leads. I have people that do those marketing touches. I have people that make those phone calls and set those appointments. I just show up and run an appointment. But if the shit hit the fan, I can hop on the phone tomorrow and set appointments. Okay. And so you want to get your business to the point where you can hire people to do the stuff that is not a good use of your time. And so you'll be able to grow. So that's my business tip for today. I want to take on some, there's got 2 people on the live call today. So I want to bring on Roberta first. Well, first of all, let me open up the whole lines and see if anybody has any questions with what I just taught on. Anybody have any questions about what I just shared?
No, I'm very familiar with appointment setting. And I agree with what you said. Yeah. No real questions. I mean, so let's just say someone's in a situation where they need to generate more leads, and other than the LinkedIn strategy and that sort of thing, I mean, if they need someone to set appointments for them, what do you advise them to do? To hire someone in-house, to go on to Thumbtack and find someone to help out? And what do they do at that point?
So if they
know they need help.
If they need help with somebody setting appointments for them, then I refer them to my super duper appointment setter, Roberta Lopez.
Thank you.
So
that's the right answer. Ding, 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 ding.
So
got it, Byron.
Give everybody a sneak peek on what I'm putting together here. I formed a corporation called 10X Consulting Group Incorporated. It's a California corporation. And under that umbrella, Roberta's going to run the appointment setting division. James is running the video and audio division. Patty Rogers is going to run the business automation division and email marketing campaigns. Christine Roberson is going to run the graphic design and social media campaigns and just marketing plans in general. Jeff Polino is going to run the entire digital marketing agency. He's got 65 people over in the Philippines. Monty Montgomery is running the accounting and finance division. He's got 129 CPAs in the Philippines trained by Ernst & Young. I've got Laura Langfit, who's going to run the content writing division. She's got 2 content writers.
She's amazing.
So I'm putting together a team. Oh, and then I just sealed a deal on Friday with a lady named Jenny Lopez, who Roberta knows very well. And Jenny's going to be doing all of the project management and operations, not only for my businesses, but any client that comes in under the 10X umbrella.
So, she is so good at what she does, too. That was a good move, John.
Absolutely.
She
amazing.
is. She's really good. She's sharp.
And so now I can go to businesses like you, Jay, when you get your business to the point and go, what aspect of your business do you not want to do? You know?
Right.
And be able to provide those services. And then, of course, I'm running the coaching and the consulting from a strategic. My gifts are strategy and the other person I just landed on Saturday is Dan Rogers, Patty's husband. He's going to run the sales training division because he's a professional sales trainer.
That's awesome.
So team of experts, and we're going to build this thing to about 20 million over the next 10 years. And it'll be fun. So anyways, enough about that. Roberta, how can I help you? Let me put you on mute, and I'll unmute you real quick, and then I'm going to get to you, Jay, as well. Hold on just a sec. How do I all right, Roberta, you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. So I think what specifically I'm struggling with is accounting. I want to find a system. I'm sure there's one out there. I just don't know much about accounting. I hate numbers. I hate dealing with numbers. I'd rather just cold call all day. But with that being said, it has something that has to be done. So I'm looking for something that I can track my expenses, handle quotes, and I want to see what I'm making at the end of every month after my expenses. Now, I'm self-employed. There's not a whole lot coming in, not a whole lot going out sometimes, but I still need to track it. And I feel like I'm using all these different systems to do that. And I've tried integrating my bank account into my accounting system, and that helps a little bit, but I still feel like I'm a bit lost. So maybe what I need is, I don't know, maybe someone who specializes in accounting for people who are self-employed to sort of help me focus in doing what I feel like I'm missing something, you know? Any advice?
So what do you use right now for bookkeeping?
I'm using Wave Integration, which is like a free accounting system. And I integrate my PayPal, and I can't integrate Venmo, but I can integrate my bank account. And so it showed me what I have in savings, what I have in checking, but I still don't see what I'm making at the end of every month. I'm not really sure how to read my reports. And I think I just need someone to sit down with me because I'm trying to set some goals for myself in regards to how much I'm earning every month. Sure. And it's hard to set goals when I'm not even sure what I'm doing now. Yeah.
So what I would do is go online, QuickBooks Online. Okay. They have a business startup version. And I think it's like $5 a month or something like that.
Okay.
Then that'll integrate with all your bank accounts. Then what I would use for time tracking would be Harvest.
Yes. Yeah, that's for sure.
Harvest seamlessly integrates with QuickBooks. So you press a button in Harvest, and if you have all your clients in Harvest, you basically transfer. I think QuickBooks either pulls from it or Harvest pushes to it. But once you get them integrated, all your time tracking is in Harvest, and you press a button, and all of it goes into QuickBooks, and you invoice out from there.
Cool.
You can take payments through QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Where you can process credit cards. It'll integrate with Zoom. It'll integrate with Venmo. It'll integrate with everything out there from a payment processing.
I need to find something too that will do retainers, because a lot of times people retain my services. They'll buy, let's say, 1,500 dials that they want to use over the next 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. In QuickBooks, the way you're going to set up your profit and loss, basically you're going to set up your accounting. Okay. So I can do one of two things. I can refer you to Monty Montgomery, okay, and have him get your books set up, okay. Or you can pay I would do it that way. I mean, I could set it up for you. I don't want to set it up for you. I'd rather have somebody set it up that does that. I can have Carrie Kyle, my friend, who is a bookkeeper, set it up for you. Or if you want to learn how to set it up yourself, and this is a really good resource here. I'm going to open this up real quick, and I'm going to share my screen so that way it's captured on this recording. Actually, we're doing an audio call today, so the video is not going to be cut out. So there's a couple of books that every small business owner should have. The first one is How to Pay Zero Taxes, and it's by Jeff A. Scheppers. So SCHN as in Nancy, EP as in Paul, P as in Paul, ER''S. Okay, he's in his 36th edition. Really, really good book for small business owners to learn the art of taxes. Okay, when it comes to bookkeeping and accounting, there is a book called Accounting and Financial Fundamentals for Non-Financial Executives. And it's by a guy named Robert Rachlin, Rachlin, and Allen Sweeney, ALLENSWEENY. Accounting and Financial Fundamentals for Non-Financial Executives is what I recommend to every client that I take on, because most business owners don't want to be CPAs, and you don't have to be. You just need to know how to read financial statements and make sense of them, okay? Now, when you set up your QuickBooks, Roberta, there's going to be tutorials in there that will walk you through the type of business that you have, how you should set it up. But basically, what you're looking for is there's 5 areas of the financial statement. You've got your income. You've got the cost of goods sold, which in your case, you're not selling anything unless you're outsourcing. You're left with what's called gross profit. Then you have your expenses. Then you have your taxes. And then you're left with what's called net profit. Okay. Are you there?
Her call got dropped.
Her call got dropped. Well, she can get the recording. So anyways, that's what I would do, is set up those 2 systems, and then you'll have your accounting systems in place. But you want to just set up your simple chart of accounts: income, costs, that'll leave you with your gross profit. And then as far as retainers, what you do with retainers is anytime a client gives you a retainer, you're going to bring that in as a customer deposit. It's not a sale. It'll show up on your balance sheet, and you'll want to put, since you're doing hours, you would set up your retainer as an inventory item. Okay, basically you set up hours, block hours as an inventory item, and QuickBooks will keep track of how many hours you have on stock and how many hours you owe. And so it'll be a liability on your balance sheet. So what I would recommend you do is just go through and do all of this, get it all set up. And if you're comfortable enough, you can always come to this call on Mondays, and we can share screens and I can walk you through on how to fix it. If you want to do that privately, by all means, we can schedule up a time to do that as well, but I can help you set it up. Okay. Now her phone dropped, so she's going to get the recording. So,
Right when I raised my hand, that's when I realized
yeah.
it was awful.
All right. So let me unmute you, Jay. Are you there?
I am here.
All right. So, did any of that I just shared about Roberta's challenge, did that help you out as well?
What's that? Oh, absolutely. Information is information. We love it. Yeah, I actually now want to grab the book about, how to be a business owner and not pay any taxes. So
Yeah.
because it's tax time, right? It's what we're going through. It's like, dang, I owe a lot.
Yeah. I had to form a corporation this year because it's like, I've been sitting on it for 2 years. My accountant's been on my ass both years going, you got to get that corporation form. I'm like, yeah, I know. And he's like, well, hey, you're the one having to pay the tax, man, not me. I'm like, I know. Just keep doing your magic, Mike. And so I finally got it done. So, hey, how can I best help you today?
Like I said in the beginning, this 30 minutes of, doing the 200, breaking everybody up by 25, just having a system in place for making the calls, because, somebody my age that's been around as long as I have, I've been doing sales now for 30 years, and we get comfortable. We get comfortable doing things the way we do it. We sort of think we know everything, and so we get away from some of the basics that actually work.
Yeah.
And I sort of feel like that's where I am. It's like, Jay, where's your mojo? You've always been the superstar. And, so like I said, nine clients since November 1st, which isn't bad. I mean, that's not bad, but I need more. I need to be about 20, 25 to be where I need to be just to be breaking even.
Yeah.
And so, you
Now
know,
refresh
so,
my
so
refresh my memory. What is your business?
what is my business? My two big things that I do is PEO and employee benefits.
Okay.
So, you know, working with companies that are needing, you know, employee sharing, risk mitigation, and then of course, how do I work within all that and give the best employee benefits that I can that attract the right employees?
Okay. And so what is it just straight up all employee benefits, or what is it? Is there a narrow scope of that, or is it any and all employee benefits?
Right. Well, my specialty is on the health insurance side. That's what I've done for feels like forever, 20 years now, and just got away from it for a break last year. And anyway, so yeah, so health benefits. I work with all the carriers in California, but on the PEO side, where you're doing employee sharing, now a company that has 5 or 10 employees is now going to market like they've got 400,000 employees. And so those are the kind of companies that I attract, the ones that are in growth mode. They might be just starting out, but they're, they might have 5 employees today, but they're, looking at having 100 5 years from now, that kind of thing. And so that's sort of, seems to be who I work with well. Probably because I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit. When I went into this, it was after selling a company that I had, started from scratch and brought all the way, and, had made all the mistakes, scratched my knees and, bumped my elbows and, it had the challenges and like, hey, we were very successful, but I understand the problems of being a business owner. So
Sure.
I love working with business owners. I've tried working with individuals, and there's plenty of people that do that, and it doesn't have to be me.
Mm-hmm. So to really blow it up, right? It all starts with getting attention, right?
Yep.
So what are the things that you're doing right now to get attention in the marketplace?
So, coming in, I've done some of the very simple things, making the simple website, making the announcements on social media, doing some of the door knocking that I enjoy to do, calling people and saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's my new company. This is, where we're at. May not be for you, but who do you know? So that's sort of the, the places, chambers, networking groups, things like that.
Okay. So if, like I have a client of mine, Ben Pauley at Clinton and Pauley, and they got about 35, 40 employees, and they do benefits is what they do. Right. So,
Right.
So what is it that sets you apart from everybody else in your space? So if you and I are at a networking event, right? And I say,
Right.
So Jay, you know what? I already use a benefits company. Why should I look at your services?
And my first question is are you doing that through employee sharing? Because if you're not, you're probably, losing a huge discount that you have available to you. Because we're Clinton Pauley, if you're a 5-employee company, you're going to market as a 5-employee company. You're going to Blue Shield, WHA, Health Net as a 5-employee company. Now with us, you're now a 400,000 employee company. So as a 400,000 employee company, do you think you get a little bit of a discount out there in the market? Absolutely. And usually that discount now takes care of everything else you're going to want to do on the PEO side, from your paychecks, legal mitigation, all those little HR pieces that most people, don't want to take care of because they want to concentrate on their widget or service that they provide. So now we're doing that sexual harassment seminar for them, and the owner's not having to worry about that because he's out there making jet skis.
Yeah. What's the lowest size company that you would take on?
One employee that's coming in growth mode. They're looking at getting their first round of venture capital. They're coming in with something hot and sexy, and they're going into the market. Whatever that looks like, but I'll even do one employee company.
Okay.
In the right market.
So if I meet you at a networking event and you would approach me, and basically your first question is are you going after what did you call that term? Employee sharing?
Employee sharing.
Okay. So pretty much you can go after any business owner. Are you tied down to California or anywhere in the United States?
We're nationwide.
So you yourself can pitch to whoever, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I'd like them to be headquartered here in California, but at least if they're headquartered here in California, but they also have offices in any of the, other 50 states or Canada, we can take care of them.
How many leads do you have in your database?
Honestly, about 4,200.
Okay. That's a decent size, man. And then I shared a file with you, by the way, on Dropbox called Business Owners Resources. Under there's all the stuff you need to create a one-page strategic plan, perfect client strategy, POI, which is what I would highly recommend you execute on, referral stuff, sales process training. Now, under sales process training, under folder number 2, appointment setting, is exactly how you should set up the marketing touch system and how you actually do it.
Okay.
So here's what I would do if I would be in your situation, right? Is you got to contact sales and you know this from 35 years of sales. Sales is a contact sport, right? The more contacts you make, the more contracts you can get, right? Because the difference between a contact and a contract is that R, right? Which is the relationship. Well, if you're not contacting enough people, you're not going to have set yourself up with the ability to have, the relationships, right? So I would break it out into a couple of different strategies. Number 1 is POI, which stands for person of influence. And in that business owner's folder I just shared with you, there's 5 videos and it walks you through it step by step. But I would hammer that strategy until you got 4 other people that are on your team, and all 5 of you are going after the exact same client. And I would leverage your database, your LinkedIn profile. Check a look at your LinkedIn profile here real quick. So you need to update your LinkedIn profile because right out of the gate, it just says CEO space Sacramento.
Right.
So I don't even know.
I know. I haven't put emphasis on there. I haven't taken the time to do it.
Yeah. So I would take the time to do it. And let me see what you got here on your profile. Yeah. I mean, you don't even have your business up here.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I would go to my YouTube channel. Okay. Type in how to turn LinkedIn into a lead generating machine. have that on one screen, have your LinkedIn profile on the other screen, and in 2 hours, you'll have your LinkedIn profile dialed.
I will make that happen tonight.
If not, then you come to me and say, hey, I don't have the time, and I'll have a member of my team do it for you for a fee. Okay? But in order for you to work this strategy, your LinkedIn profile's gotta be dialed, man, because you've got 500
Yes.
plus connections that are connected to you. And if you were a POI for me, which you are, by the way, given what you do, I would go to your LinkedIn profile and type in president and come up with 421 results. Then I go down here and select Sacramento, California. And that gives me 357 results. Then I'll go down here and select second degree connections, because those are people I'm not connected to. And that gives me 240. So I have a potential of 248 referrals from you alone, for me, right? Now, if I go to my LinkedIn profile and I type in the same thing, so it looks like I have, based off the same search, 568 potential referrals for you. That's just in Sacramento.
Nice.
Throughout my entire LinkedIn database, I have 1,234 presidents that are directly connected to me. So let me see where we are with time. So for the sake of time, I'm going to teach you this principle right here, because this principle right here will get you the lowest hanging fruit. It'll blow your shit up, and then all of a sudden you're going to have a machine running that you have as many leads as you want, right? Because if I make a phone call, if I come to you and go, hey, let's say you and I set up a time to have coffee, okay, which we're going to do. And after your surgery's done, right? So what we're going to do is get together. I'm going to go to your LinkedIn profile, and I'm going to search up the word president, and I'm going to print out 10 people out of your LinkedIn profile. I'm going to bring it with me to the meeting, and I'm going to want you to do the same thing. And when we get there, I'm going to go, hey, how do you know these people? There are going to be people on that sheet that you actually know. And I'm going to want their cell phone numbers, and I'm going to want you to introduce me to them. And then I'm going to do the same thing for you. And then I'm going to whip out my cell phone, because you're going to jog my memory enough, and I'm going to think of a bunch of people that are not on that list, and I'm going to give you probably anywhere from 5 to 7 referrals that day, and I'm going to walk away with the same. And both of us are going to contact those people, and we're going to convert probably half of them. And then if you do that with 4 POIs, that's once a week, you're going to get anywhere from 5 to 7 referrals every single week. And then those people that you're getting referrals from become referrals for other people. So networking like that is really, really powerful. And that's just one strategy of 12 different strategies that I would implement in your type of business. Okay. So that way you're going to have to hire some people to set appointments, because you'll have the money to do it.
Yeah, that's what we like.
So that's what I would do, is I would go, and I sent you all the resources in Dropbox. I would go through the POI watch the POI videos, take action on it, and implement it. Because I'd be at a networking event, and they go, if I was doing what you're doing, they go, well, John, what is it that you do? I help small business owners like you get the absolute best benefits possible for either yourself, if you're a solo entrepreneur, or all of your employees. That's what I do. And I'd leave it hanging out there like a big fat hook. And the very next question is, well, how do you do that? Or what is that like? You go, well, how would you like to go to market as a 400,000 employee owned company versus where you're at right now with just yourself or 5 employees? Do you think you would be able to get a whole lot more, a lot lesser rate with a lot better benefit? What do you think? Yep. I gotta tell you what, we're at a networking event right now. Why don't we not? I don't really want to get into it here, But I tell you what I can do is I can send you some information and see if it makes sense for us to get together on an appointment. Do you want me to send you some information? And they're going to say yes. And I go, okay, how would you like me to send it to you? And they're going to whip out their card. Now notice, I did not ask them for their card. It's all about posturing when you're in a networking event. I want them wanting me so bad that they can't wait for me to get a hold of them. And so I get their card, I send them some information, and now I'm going to have what's called a 30-minute benefits strategy session. Where I can look at where I can take a look at all your benefits and see what you have and help you customize a better strategy for your benefits. So not only are you setting, because yes, you're earning rich, chances of you keeping that talent are small. And so your strategy session is going to help them not just save money, never lead in with saving money, but lead in with higher retention and being able to recruit better talent.
Absolutely.
And oh, by the way, the side effect is you're going to save money. You see how I flipped it?
Yep.
Okay. And then you can have as many clients as you want, because there's no small business owner out there that's not going to listen to you if you approach them that way. Now, the cool thing is we just recorded everything I just said. So you can go back and listen to it over and over again, but I'd hone your pitch, and then on next week's call, pitch me again. You know, so you meet me as a business owner, you got to want me to be so damn hungry that I can't wait to meet with you. I'm like, hey, why don't we go out in the hallway right now and talk about it? You know, you got to make your pitch so, you can lead a horse to water. You can't force them to drink, but you sure as hell can make them thirsty. And you'll make a whole lot more money and get a whole lot better client relationships if you have them chasing you versus you chasing them. Because I didn't even know you did.
All right, thanks for watching this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. The recording is going to be up very shortly. I want you to go out, take action on what you learned today, and make it happen. If you're curious about me working with you one-on-one or any member of my team, send me an email, and in the subject line, put "need access to your team," and I'll schedule a time where we can chat for 10 minutes on the phone. Go out and make it happen, and keep in mind, anybody you refer to this program, you get a 25% residual when they sign up. So go out and make it happen. We'll talk to you later.